What's good, family? It's your man, the YB, back once again. Oh no, it's been a few weeks still since I covered the continuing debacle between Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, and it seems to be reaching some sort of headway right now. Now, in the last update, about a week or two ago, Espinosa actually came out and said it was still possible for November. Now it appears to be the 20th October, and finally Team Spence are taking my advice and breaking their silence to air out issues that are going on. Let me stop waffling and let's get to the leak. Growing concern on Spence's side that Crawford's team isn't committed to the squabble. When Errol Spence Jr.'s representative sent back another revised contract to Terence Crawford's attorney earlier this month, those working on Spence's behalf were optimistic that it would lead to the consummation of the deal for the unbeaten welterweight champions to finally squabble at some point in early 2023. The most recent 3 changes Crawford's attorneys requested, none of which were considered major deal points, were made. He hasn't responded, however, to Spence's representative in the 2 weeks since he was sent the revised contract. BoxingScene.com has learned that the recent silence from the lawyer negotiating on Terence Crawford's behalf has caused growing concern on Spence's side that Crawford's team isn't committed to completing the deal for what would be the most meaningful non-heavyweight squabble in boxing. Neither side has set a deadline by which negotiations need to result in a completed deal, but BoxingScene.com has been informed that Spence's handlers believe they have made all of the changes Crawford's attorney has requested and are perplexed as to why he hasn't gotten back to them. Spence has his own promotional company, Man Down Promotions, but he works with Premier Boxing Champions founder Al Heyman, his long-time advisor. Crawford was promoted by Bob Arum's Top Rank for most of his career, but he is a promotional free agent because his contract with Arum expired earlier this year. Now, you man can find the rest of the article. In fact, there's some more here actually. Factions of frustrated fans. Oh no, scrap that. They're waffling about the fans. End their day, man. That's the leak now. I'm sure there'll be some Bud Crawford fans out there who say, oh, this is just Errol Spence fangirling, listen. Or this is made up. Yeah? There's 2 things people could say. Oh, it's Cap. Or, it's Errol Spence waffling. Now, the reason I give this article particular credence is because, guess what? Errol Spence himself actually retweeted this article. So, unlike a lot of occasions where news sites can just make things up, Errol Spence is co-signing the things that have been said. Now, the key kind of leak in this was the fact that Terence Crawford has had the contract for 2 weeks and haven't heard from them since. Now, we don't know the specific details, but let's take that at face value. If I send you a contract back with the minor revisions fulfilled on it, and I don't hear from you for 2 weeks, that's what you call a duck.com. Because usually how good faith business would go, if you have some problems where you know you can't speak to the person for 2 weeks, you tell them that. Sorry, not going to be here for 2 weeks, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? You don't just go missing for 2 weeks. The only way that's the case is if you stall him. Which, by the way, let's not make out people. Fair enough, yeah. This isn't AJ versus Fury. Oh, it's been 10 days. No, this has genuinely been about 6 months. It's been a minute. An hour. Yeah? Listen, as far as the saying minute goes, this has been an hour. How about that? Yeah? Take the piss. This guy, Bud Crawford, take the piss, in my opinion. And I'm glad Errol Spence has finally taken my advice. I'm the one who's been saying, Errol Spence, or whoever it was, Listen, the rumours have been Terence Crawford's the problem. So whoever the problem has been, the other side should be coming out and airing it out. Now, Errol Spence has doubled down on the article. Not only did he retweet it, he also followed up with, Nick, been stalling for months. I could have been fought in November. I've been fighting at this weight for over a decade. This ish ain't easy or fun. So, Errol Spence is doubling down on his frustrations, and I'm with him, man, on this one. Now we know Errol Spence is trying to make the fight. Well, put it this way. Bud fans can disagree, oh no, he's cap. Well, if it's cap, and that's the great thing about public disclosure. That's why I've been begging these goofies to do everything publicly. Or to at least, fair enough, yeah, listen, if contracts can get done without beef, without public disclosure, great. I'm saying, when things start to slow down, when things start to go a bit wiggy, that's when you bring the public in. That's when you say, listen, we tried to do it quiet, you're bugging, I'm going public. As Errol Spence has done now. Because what this does is, this now puts clear pressure on one man, Terence Crawford. Before, Terence Crawford can sit back and, oh yeah, it's going to happen, you're going to get it, yeah, and just sit back in the sauce. Everyone lost in the sauce. Now it's clear. Errol Spence wants it. Errol Spence team have put it on you. What's the deal? Now there's no confusion. And what that means is, the onus now is on Terence Crawford to clap back and say, no, you're wrong, we sent an email, etc, etc, etc. Or he stays quiet and it's clear he shit himself. He shit his pants. Because, I'm sorry, yeah, it does have to be said. Who has Terence Crawford actually fought? Yeah? Whatever we say about Errol Spence showed up and fought a prime Kell Brook. Now, people can laugh, but Kell Brook ain't no joke. Especially not in the UK. Errol Spence showed up and stopped the guy. Errol Spence has also beaten many other undefeated guys. He beat Sean Porter, the best Sean Porter we've ever seen as well, may I add. Terence Crawford, what's he been doing? Terence Crawford hanged around, beat Kell Brook leftovers, beat Sean Porter leftovers. Do you know what I'm saying? Terence Crawford's a bit like the leftovers slayer. Gotta be honest with you. What prime bulls has Terence Crawford handled? There ain't none. What top tier guys? What pound for pound guys? At the time, yeah, Kell Brook was pound for pound. Errol Spence slayed him. What pound for pound guys has Terence Crawford beat? Gamboa. Okay, no. That's what we do. Gamboa. And the reason that's relevant is, I'm not surprised. Because so far, every time Terence Crawford's been linked with a pound for pound guy, he ain't fighting him. And now, once again, he's linked with a pound for pound guy. And it's all bugging out. And I'm sorry, yeah, but I find it suspect when Terence Crawford, yeah, don't have no problem. How quickly did the Crawford and Amir Khan fights get signed? How quickly did the Crawford and Kell Brook fight get signed? No problem. Yeah? If Terence Crawford can fight someone washed up, he dare. He on it like Sonic. Now though, things taking 6 months. Nah man, that don't work for me. That don't work. Not even a bit. So I hope Errol Spence stays on this guy. Because I gotta be honest, the whole of boxing's lost out here. We were supposed to get a fight in November. This was supposed to be the big November fight. Do you know how peak the rest of the boxing year is looking? There's literally no good fights for the rest of the year. Bivol versus Ramirez. That's about it. Seriously. There's nothing else. Fury versus Chisora don't count. This year was supposed to be the big one for the quarter. For Q4, this was supposed to be the big one. And instead, we don't get it. And like Errol Spence was ready for November. Showtime were ready for November. That's what gets me the most. These guys was ready for November. The only reason it's not happening in November is because of Crawford. And that sucks in my opinion. Proper sucks. Yeah? I'm not impressed with it at all. Not even a little bit. Weird having an ass guy. Messing everything else up for everyone else. And listen, Terence Crawford, yeah, he ain't getting no younger. And it makes me laugh. I think part of the reason Crawford is the way he is, he's too bougie. Bob Arum treated him too nicely. Bob Arum niced the guy, but overpaid him. I heard Terence Crawford, was making $5 million to fight Amir Khan and $5-6 million to fight Kell Brook. That's ridiculous. Ridiculous. And it's gassed him up so much, he now thinks, oh yeah, he's bougie now. Yeah? Bud is bad and bougie, 100%. Bougie have an ass dude. So, listen. Errol Spence. And if I'm wrong, if Terence Crawford's the one, or if it's the other way around, Terence Crawford needs to come out and air it out. So far, we ain't heard nizzy from Crawford. So I'm going to sit tight for the next few days and let's see how it plays out. But unfortunately, I'm rocking with Errol Spence on this one. It's looking like Crawford the one bugging. Because that's what the allegations have been from the rip. And it's a shame. Because this really is Errol Spence's first pound-for-pound fight. Terence Crawford up until this point has never fought no one pound-for-pound. Errol Spence has a few of them on there. Yeah, Errol Spence has got Danny Garcia. But even if you don't count that, fine. The point is, Errol Spence has beat Kell Brook. Bottom line. Crawford ain't beat no one. That's what it is. Gamboa, wow. Gamboa, what? Little Gamboa. We just saw what 135 Pitbull did to Gamboa. Oops. Yeah, he chewed that ass up. Anyway, smash the like button, subscribe, and your boy will be back.